Yeah, first of all, I would like to introduce the first team of the afternoon session, the team, the Greatest Seamen, onto the floor. The title of their presentation is the adoption of BFM Convention. Please join me welcoming the team Greatest Seamen onto the stage.
Biofouling increases fuel consumption and greenhouse gas emissions.
Biofouling destroys marine ecosystem, causing marine pollution.
So, we insist on the adoption of BFM Convention. We are the Greatest Seamen, the leader of the clean oceans.
Good afternoon, honorable chairs and distinguished delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to present our proposal today. We would like to propose the adoption of International Convention for the Control and Management of Biofouling on Ships, namely BFM Convention. Our presentation consists of 4 parts. First, background, and second, problem analysis, third, proposal, and fourth, conclusion. Can you guess what it is? Did you know that barnacles can live on ship's hulls? Collectively, these are called biofouling. Biofouling means the accumulation of aquatic organisms on surfaces and structures immersed in or exposed to the aquatic environment. It not only infringes biodiversity in its territorial sea and disturbs marine ecosystem, but also affects the ship's operational efficiency. Because we are interested in marine environmental problem, we recognize that the invasive aquatic species is one of the greatest threats to the world's ocean. It can lead extinction of native species, and it can cause extremely severe environmental, economic, and public health impacts. Transportation of IAS is accelerating through ballast water exchange and biofouling. While the risk posed by ballast water is now regulated under the IMO Ballast Water Management Convention, the control of biofouling remains voluntary. As a result, individual governments develop their own strategies and policies to reduce foreign species from biofouling. The most comprehensive management policies to date are those of New Zealand, Australia, and US state of California. Actually, we interviewed some ship officers how they manage biofouling, and many answered that they don't manage it ordinarily or they don't know how to manage it. Like this, in practice, biofouling is not treated in some vessels because it's up to their autonomy. In the past, common belief concurred that the ballast water was primarily responsible for the introduction of IAS. However, recent research suggests that the biofouling has been underestimated as a possible factor and may in fact represent the most common mechanism for the introduction of IAS. For example, in New Zealand and Port Phillip, Australia, their rate of introduction was as follows. As ports become congested and average sea temperatures rise these days, biofouling increases and it makes vicious cycle. Biofouling on ships hulls leads higher fuel consumption and more greenhouse gases emitted. The buildup of biofouling is known to enhance the roughness of the ship's colonized surface, and therefore it increases ship's hydrodynamic drag and increases fuel usage. The sum of estimated energy reduction could range from 5% to over 23%. With annual CO2 emissions from international shipping, a decrease of 10% across entire global fleet could correspond to a reduction of around 80 to 90 million tons CO2 emitted on an annual basis. To achieve IMO's aim on reducing GHG emissions and prevent climate change, we insist on the adoption of mandatory convention, so-called BFM Convention. Making BFM Convention, We borrowed ideas from BWM Convention and AFS Convention. Although there is an obvious relationship between AFS Convention and biofouling management, it does not equate to having a biofouling management policy. AFS Convention addresses the prevention of adverse impacts from the use of anti-fouling systems and the biocides it may contain, rather than the prevention of the transfer of IAS through hard fouling. IMO biofouling guidelines already exist and are currently being reviewed by IMO member states, and a new version is expected to be approved in 2023. The next version will remain non-mandatory and will hence not provide specific international rules or standards for the regulation of biofouling management.
Yes, so that's why we insist on the adoption of International Convention for the Control and Management of Biofouling on Ships. Our structure direction is as before, and the description is as follows. Committee is MEPC and subcommittee is PPR. So let me briefly introduce the BFM Convention first. The Biofouling Management Convention, or BFM Convention, is a treaty in order to help prevent the spread of potentially harmful aquatic organisms and pathogens of biofouling on ships. According to this convention, ships must manage their biofouling on ship so that aquatic organisms and pathogens are removed before the IAS by biofouling is released into a new location. The point of this convention is to provide the specific international rules or standards by creating an international mandatory and unified convention on the management regulations of biofouling. It applies to all ships, including non-trading vessels such as floating craft, FPSO, and so on. So what are the main contents of this convention? First is main document. Key documents are the biofouling management plan and biofouling record book. The guideline details about them, so we first propose that the regulation for BMP and BRB should comply with the guideline. The intent of the BMP should be to provide effective procedure for biofouling management. The BRB is to assist the ship owner and operator to evaluate the efficacy of the specific anti-fouling systems and operational practices on the ship in particular and of the BMP in general. In addition to the guideline, more content like details about anti-fouling system, certificate-related information, and niche area management must be added. Also, unlike the guidelines in the BFM Convention, BMP and BRB must be a mandatory and stand-alone document. They can be inspected and reviewed on request by a port state authority. It is the owner's, operator's, or master's responsibility to keep them on board adequately, to review them regularly, and to ensure that the information and records contained therein is accurate and updated. Next is about vessels that undergo an extended residency period. Remaining stationary or moving slowly and infrequently for prolonged periods increases the likelihood that biofouling will accumulate on the vessel. Therefore, we have constructed methods for long-term berth vessels based on 45 days, referring to regulations of other countries. Vessels that have remained in one port for 45 or more consecutive days are to comply with the following biofouling management requirements. Vessels staying up to 45 days are allowed to have the following degree of biofouling, and vessels stay longer than 45 days are as follows. Next is in-water inspection and in-water cleaning. Despite the use of effective anti-fouling system and operational practices, undesirable amounts of biofouling may still accumulate during the intended lifetime of anti-fouling systems. To maintain a ship as free of biofouling as practical, it may be advisable for the ship to undertake in-water inspection and in-water cleaning and maintenance. Through in-water inspection, biofouling of the hull is graded as follows, and accordingly, the in-water cleaning types and whether or not to clean are determined as follows. The cleaning company should submit an outline of the operation plan to the ship and the port. The ship shall follow established procedure to ensure that the equipment such as thrusters, propellers, etc. are locked or tagged out in order to ensure that they cannot be used while in water cleaning. Also, the result of the inspection and cleaning shall be accurately documented in the inspection report and cleaning report, and they should be retained on board the ship and kept with the biofouling record book. After completing in-water inspection and cleaning, the vessel is issued an International Clean Her certificate by or on behalf of the administration. It certifies that the ship's biofouling degree is satisfied with the BFM Convention as well as the expired date of the certificate. The validity of the certificate is 1 year, and in the case the ships without the certificate, they can enter the port only if they agree to conduct in-water inspection and cleaning 24 hours of entry. ICHC also can be inspected and reviewed on request by a port state authority. The process of the in-water inspection, in-water cleaning, and issuance of ICHC is as follows. If you meet the grade criteria in the inspection, you can issue ICHC immediately without in-water cleaning. So these are the main contents of the convention.
Apart from the convention, marine discharge of byproduct generated when removing hull attachment cause biological and chemical risk to the marine ecosystem. Therefore, it is necessary to establish a monitoring system and a hull pollution management procedure. The main contents are the preparation of a hazard distribution map by sea area and port and management guidelines for removing and post-processing marine organisms in an eco-friendly manner. Next is conclusion. Biofouling is not only a main cause of introducing IES, but also a factor that increases CO2 by reducing ships' energy efficiency. However, the management of biofouling has not yet been adopted in the form of convention or annex with legally binding. Therefore, the management method and regulations for ship-attached organisms differ according to each country. Unless IMO's guidelines become mandatory, there is a possibility that other governments will introduce their own unilateral regulatory requirements, and it can potentially create an inconsistent approach and confusion. Accordingly, we need to establish a unified and specific guideline to systematically manage biofouling. Therefore, we suggest that the BFM Convention should be established to increase policy extension. The BFM Convention specifies that the following matters are important. First, vessels subject to this convention should carry out inertial survey every year and then get an international clean hull certificate issued. Second, depending on the result of the inspection, appropriate measure for each step should be taken through inertial cleaning. And third, there is a high risk of disrupting the marine ecosystem in the process of removing biofouling. Therefore, management guidelines should be established for eliminating ships' attached organisms eco-friendly and post-treatment. In addition, it is important to develop technologies and infrastructures related to the management of biofouling. Also, international cooperation and support programs like ITCP should be supported to help developing countries comply with regulations. The establishment of the BFM Convention is expected to be the institutional basis for eliminating ship-attached organisms in a manner that does not cause marine pollution, but conduct follow-up monitoring by regulating ships, equipment, instrument standard, and qualification standard suitable for eliminating biofouling. This concludes our presentation, and thank you for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you, the team Greatest Seamen, for your presentation. As a side note, for the gender equality, I think rather than using the seaman, the seafarer would be the better terminology for use. And before opening the floor, please keep in mind that the questions and answers should be brief and concise for providing wider opportunity for all participants and maximizing efficiencies of the operation. First, judges are invited for questions and comments. Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep, congratulations for your comprehensive presentation. Yes, you as you presented your teams, actually global societies, including the IMO, are fully aware the severity of the environmental problems to be imposed by the biopowering. Actually, IMO now are negotiating to make, as you said, the regulatory the framework, especially including the convention using the existing guideline. So my question is that what's the final challenges to make such kinds of legally binding the convention for biopowering management, and which country are expected to support and to oppose to make such a legal framework on biopowering management?
Thank you for your thoughtful question, and I'm wondering that you're asking challenges from other countries how to accept our convention.
Yep, actually, I guess if all the countries agrees to the needs and some necessity, such kinds of conventions, IMO fully accept that your procedures. But I guess there are some administrative or legal or technical problems to make such kinds of final convention. What's the most the expected challenges or problems or the concerns to be made by the member state of IMO?
Can you give a second, please?
Thank you for your question. And the difficulty that we expected that the marine ecosystem of all ocean are different. So maybe there will be some limit to control all biofouling with one convention. But if we see the BWNC, it took more than 10 years to make the convention entry into force. With confront to this, before the BFN convention entries into force, each country promotes the establishment of related survey and database by identifying foreign ships entering their ports and types and population of whole fouling invasive species, and establishing an information system by comprehensively investigating and researching in statistical, biological, and chemical aspects. Also, it fully reflects the IMO's common whole fouling invasion of species, and internationally, it is necessary to designate additional species as management targets or introduce a separate risk assessment system. Thank you.
Okay, now I would like to open the floor for the participants. Yes, please. Methodology, yes, please.
Thanks, Chair. This delegate thanks the distinguished presentation for the introduction of Biofouling Management Convention. I am on agreement on adopting the convention due to severity of biofouling. However, when implementing the biofouling management convention agreement, there will be a lot of opposition from the ship owner due to cost problems. So I wondered whether it is possible to implement it. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. My answer is the seriousness of environmental problem should be the priority over the resistance of the ship owner due to the cost of annual survey and cleaning. So far, IMO has adopted many conventions for environmental preservation, such as BWMC and IMO 2020. According to the result of the study, the invention of IAS by biofouling is more than through ballast water. Therefore, there is no reason to hesitate the adoption of the BFM convention due to opposition from the ship owner. And thank you for your question.
Yeah, also previously 다 함께 바다로 raise your card, right? No, okay, so then Oasis, you have the floor.
I'm impressed by your presentation and I have a question for your team. You showed process of an ICHC in water inspection, cleaning, and insurance. What are the expected effects and more detail of ICHC?
Thank you for your question. And the expected effectiveness is that according to the process, the maximum attachment time and amount of hull attachment can be predicted so that hull investigation and cleaning can be performed. Also, preliminary preparation and countermeasures for cleaning can be prepared and the efficiency of hull cleaning can be improved. Also, the data collection and the number of cleaning can be reduced, thereby they can greatly reduce the cost. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. We are deeply impressed for your presentation about concerning biopowering. This delegation would like to express our concern on safety and effectiveness. In general, anti-fouling work is performed when the ship enters the dry dock. This delegation concerned whether effective and safe biopowering will be possible in the case of underwater condition. Is there a solution about this?
Thank you for your question, and please give us 10 seconds, please.
Oh, sure.
Thank you for your question. Of course, the dry dock cleaning is the most effective way of cleaning the hull, but it costs a lot of budget. So maybe for the shipping company, the driver or using ROV may be the more best way to clean the biofouling attachment. Also, during the inspection and cleaning, regulation may have recommended or approved biofouling test drivers, and high definition cameras should be used for video and photography. Also, the Name and data and area of the vessel shall be indicated on each image during inspection. And also the video should be taken at sufficiently slow speed. And also the divers should be educated and have some qualified person, so maybe it could be there will be no severe problem. Thank you.
Okay, and now I would like to invite 20 seconds comments from the floor. Yes,
Okay,
comments. Yes, thank you.
One of the proposals you made on your presentation, that's removing and post-processing marine organisms in an eco-friendly measure. Do you have any specific eco-friendly measure in your mind? Or since I saw I saw a newspaper article a couple of weeks ago about a company which invented robotic vacuum cleaner that removes biofouling from the bottom of the vessels, and they started selling the products from the early September. That's kind of 2 months ago. Yeah.
If it would be allowable, would it be possible for us to leave the comment or the reply via email or the web pages for your available comments?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Please give them a big round of applause. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.